So did it start with posting your writing on Instagram, or what was like the first, I guess, format of your content?
Sure. So again, a lot of people don't know this. I used to have around 50 social media accounts, all under different names, and it was all inspired by Esther and Jerry Hicks, who I'm sure
I
you're
love
all.
them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so it was all about sharing good vibes, because I realized that the internet was quite a dark and troubling place, and I wanted to spread positivity online. It was all about keeping a high vibration. So I was just like, oh, I like the idea of good vibes. And I'm not saying I created this, because there's no, someone would have said good vibes only way before me. But I tried to, I suppose, advocate for this movement, good vibes only, through multiple channels. So I had a number of accounts. So some of these accounts were like quote accounts, for example, on Twitter, some on Tumblr, even on Pinterest, actually, but Instagram. But it was none of them were under Vex King. And then it wasn't until my wife, who is also on YouTube, she started like really blowing up.
Oh, so did you meet her before she was like doing YouTube, or?
I actually encouraged her to go onto YouTube.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I always knew that she was, I don't know, I always knew that people would fall in love with her. And I know it's obviously I'm biased because she's my wife, but she's just a good person, very pure hearted,
I love
very
that.
bubbly. And, yeah, YouTube just seemed to suit her personality. But even I didn't realize that she was going to blow up one day to the extent she did. And, her channel's really taking off. And she turned around to me and she said, like, you've got all these celebrities and all these people following your accounts and resharing your words without your name on it. And no one knows it's you. And I turned to her and I was just like, the thing is, if I post as me, like, I wear like snapbacks, I look much younger than I actually am. Like, people might not take me seriously. And she was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just do you. Just share your wisdom, because it clearly inspires so many people. So eventually I unloaded a lot of those accounts, and I kept to the Vex King account.
So around what time was this?
The Vex King account that I have right now, I acquired in November 2015, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah.
But I was on socials, say, doing things.
Anonymously.
Yeah, from like 2012 or 11. To be fair, I used to have like Facebook while I was at uni, and I used to share, like, your statuses that you have.
Oh, they would be quotes, right?
Yeah, there would be quotes, and sometimes there'd be rants if I wasn't feeling good. Even on MySpace, actually. Do you remember MySpace?
Yes. I think we're in the similar era. So I love talking
Okay.
about the internet evolution. And like when you talk about, 2015, I know exactly what the internet was back then. And the
Okay,
Tumblr and the
amazing.
Pinterest quotes. Yeah.
MySpace for me was one of my favorite ever platforms. And I'm so sad, but so happy for Tom, because he's living his life
Yeah.
now. But you used to get, like, I think you'd post bulletins, and then you'd have, like, I think it bulletins on your page. I can't remember, but I remember I was producing music at the time, and I remember posting one about like getting to know me and my thoughts. And I remember girls at my university like, Vex, did you really write that? Because I didn't seem like the type of person that would write something so deep. And I was just like, yeah, I did. And they were like, no, you must have, like, obviously there's no AI back then, but they were like, no, like, you must have copied it. I was just like, no, these are just my thoughts. And then even one of my uncles like read it, and he was just like, you actually think, like, are you an old soul? Like, how do you think of stuff like this? And I was just like, I don't know. And at university, I had a lecturer who said there was power in my writing and my ability to capture emotions, but none of it clicked. None of it clicked to me. I thought I was going to be doing something completely different to writing.
Yeah, I love that writing has followed you really throughout your entire life. And I can relate to you too, because I'm also a similar type where I journaled before journaling was a thing to like heal yourself. I just did it to express myself. But anyway, I love hearing your story and to see how much you've grown everything. Like, I'm so proud of you. If you were to look back at the journey, then what do you believe were the keys to your success?
That's a really good question. I think the first definitely has to be mindset. Like, I really shifted my mindset to see the light, even though a lot of my life was filled with the dark. Today, I actually posted a quote on Instagram and I said, like, count your blessings without denying your problems, because I suppose the physical world is all duality. So where there's dark, there has to be light. Where there's cold, there has to be warm. And I think although my life was incredibly difficult, and I don't wish it on any single person, there were so many blessings, but it's also shaped me to who I am today. I don't know if you're like this, but I always end up on like nostalgia TikTok, and it's got like this cool music. And I look back and I'm like, I just feel like this sense of connection to the past. And I'm like, but it's such a light and blissful feeling. And I think to myself, these were some of the most difficult years in my life, but they were also the most free. I felt so
Oh my
good in those
gosh.
moments, those simple
I
moments
so
that we're
relate
never
to
going to
that.
get back. And
Yeah.
I think when I started learning about mindset, I realized that although my life was difficult, I had a family. I had two sisters and a mom who deeply loved me, who supported me through the hard times. I had other loving members of a family. I had food on the table at times. I was able to go to school. So there were still blessings in my life. And I think, when you vibrate on the frequency of gratitude and you count your blessings, you receive more blessings to count. And I think that really become evident in my life. And it really, I think, built my self-belief, because as I started shifting my mindset, I started manifesting small things. And when you start manifesting small things, it breeds more confidence to manifest bigger things. And you continue to feed energy into that cycle. And eventually you end up, or like me, I've ended up where I am. But I'm also, and again, this is going to sound quite, I suppose, a little bit dark. But I am really thankful that I suppose I had like a reality check at the time that I tried to take my life, not for the incident itself, because, that was horrific. And I actually promised myself that I'd do whatever it takes to never be in that position again. But if I hadn't gone through that, I don't think I would have pursued, this wellness path, an organic wellness path. I would have continued to suppress my emotions and really build this facade of someone that's doing okay in life. And I just, at a point in my life, I'm getting much older. I'm like, if it's not real, then, what's the point? Like, it has to feel real. So yeah, I would say that they're the key things that have really helped me achieve what I have today.
Yeah, it's almost like there's a purpose to your pain. It's not that you would want anybody else to experience that pain or to even go back, but because you've experienced the darkness, you appreciate the light, and it kind of propels you to the light.
Exactly. And it's exactly that. I think it's the law of polarity, which basically, says that everything's kind of on the same spectrum. You don't know where, for example, hot and cold start, but you recognize the difference because of contrast. So you know what hot feels like because
Yeah.
of your experience with the cold. And it's the same with me. Like, I know what good looks like, at least in my life, because of experiencing the bad. And I also think, like, my work, I like to believe, is filled with empathy. And maybe I wouldn't have had that empathy if I hadn't have gone through such a difficult life. Like, I'm 30, I forgot how old I was. I'm turning 38 in April. And, I would say, like, the first 25 years minimum were extremely difficult for me. And it wasn't until post 30 where things started feeling a little bit lighter.